That mysterious voice finally takes off the mask, and in a split second, everything changes. What should have been their biggest moment becomes their biggest regret. In the digital age, some content creators rise to superstardom without ever showing their face. The anonymity itself becomes a selling point. But quickly, before we get into this, if you guys enjoy these types of deep dive videos, then I have a gaming channel that's very similar to this, where we do deep dives on certain game characters, gaming lore, and everything else. If you guys are interested, I'll leave a link down in the description. But apart from that, enjoy today's video. Psychologists have noted that faceless figures naturally spark intrigue. Audiences project their own ideals onto an unseen persona. As one report put it, a creator's anonymity can fuel explosive growth because faceless figures are inherently intriguing. When reality punches through the fantasy, the internet can turn shockingly cruel. The moment of revelation often falls short of the impossible expectations that years of imagination have built. 1 minute, millions of fans are cheering on a live countdown for the reveal. The next minute, some of those same fans are ridiculing the creator's real appearance without mercy. Our first and perhaps most infamous case study is Dream. Dream's rise is the stuff of YouTube legend, a faceless gamer with a simple smiley face logo who amassed over 30 million subscribers while remaining entirely anonymous. For 8 years, Dream cultivated mystique. Even fellow creators on his hit Minecraft server, the Dream SMP, had never seen his face. Fans were enthralled by the secrecy. Dream's friendly cartoon mask became as recognizable as any celebrity's visage. By late 2022, the hype for Dream's face reveal had reached a fever pitch. On October 2nd, 2022, Dream finally decided to show the world who he was. The event was treated like the Super Bowl of YouTube. Dream teased it by video calling friends and internet celebrities, letting them see his face one by one, building anticipation across TikTok and Twitter. As Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, tweeted after meeting him, he's in the middle of one of the most interesting social media campaigns I've ever seen. More than 1.2 million people tuned in live for Dream's YouTube premiere titled Hi, I'm Dream. The video exploded, over 18 million views in 14 hours, rocketing to 67 million within weeks. For a moment, it seemed Dream had conquered the final boss of internet celebrity, revealing his identity and turning it into a victory lap. But then, the internet showed its harsh side. The initial excitement curdled into ridicule at blistering speed. On Twitter, toxic hashtags trended almost immediately. Terms like "he's ugly" and "put the mask back on" surged as soon as Dream's face went public. In countless memes and posts, people mocked his appearance for being just ordinary. The most average-looking white dude sniped one viral comment, garnering thousands of likes. Others compared Dream's face to fictional characters. The DreamWorks character Rumpelstiltskin from Shrek was a popular punchline, as users posted side-by-side images to imply Dream looked comically similar. On Reddit, the roast session was merciless. One user quipped, "He looks like a troll face," and another joked that Dream looks like the starter white male preset in a game with character creation. The jabs were brutally personal. It was as if a portion of the audience, who had built up an idealized image of the faceless Minecraft hero, now felt let down that he was in reality a normal young man. Dream's face reveal was supposed to humanize him, to let him connect more openly with fans and fellow creators. Instead, it brought out the worst of the internet. Before the reveal, Dream's videos routinely pulled tens of millions of views each. In fact, his worst performing video in the year prior still topped 14 million views, an indication of just how massive his faceless brand had become. After the reveal, however, things changed. According to one analysis, Dream's view counts dropped significantly in the ensuing months, from those tens of millions, down to around 5 million views on average. In a June 2023 YouTube video titled Buy from Dream, the 23-year-old creator announced he was putting the mask back on for good. With a mix of earnestness and satire, Dream donned a newly crafted version of his iconic smiley mask and told viewers he would delete any trace of his real face from the internet.
I will be slowly deleting all pictures of me, going back to just being a gamer in a mask.
Dream's story shows in stark detail how a beloved content creator can be dehumanized once the curtain is pulled back. The very anonymity that helped him rise was protecting him more than he knew. When that barrier fell, when Clay, the normal guy, stood exposed, a portion of the audience turned on him for being merely human. As one fellow YouTuber, Memolus, observed in discussing Dream's situation, Dream is just a normal-looking guy. Even if he was the most attractive man in the world, he would have got a lot of backlash just for the way he looks, because he hid it for so long. In other words, no real face could ever live up to the legend that a mask let fans build. Dream learned that the hard way. Much like Dream, Corpse's allure thrived on mystery. He was only known by his rich, rumbling voice, often narrating horror stories or laughing through Among Us games, and a crude anime-style avatar. Fans on Twitter and TikTok would swoon over his voice and persona, sketch fan art of an imagined edgy anime boy, and propagate a semi-ironic meme that Corpse's husband must be an impossibly attractive e-boy, or even a supernatural being, given his pseudonym and horror vibe. Corpse himself fueled a bit of fantasy, hinting that his avatar was at least somewhat representative and joking about his looks. This led many in his audience to construct an idealized mental image: tall, dark, maybe a Todoroki-haired heartthrob, entirely out of speculation. Behind the scenes, Corpse's husband was fiercely protective of his identity. He had personal reasons to remain faceless, struggles with chronic illness, anxiety, and a desire for privacy. But as his fame grew in 2020, so did the pressure from certain corners of the internet to uncover his face. Then, in September 2021, the situation came to a head. An alleged photo of Corpse's husband leaked on Twitter, posted by someone claiming it was him, and it spread like wildfire. Whether the photo truly was Corpse has never been definitively confirmed. It was largely believed to be him by the resemblance to details he'd given, though some contested it. But for the purposes of the internet mob, it didn't matter. The image went massively viral, and a tidal wave of commentary ensued. Sadly, much of it was ugly. The leaked picture, authentic or not, showed a young man of average build with a normal face, not a gothic anime character, just a regular person. To some of Corpse's more obsessive fans, this was a shock, and not a welcome one. Some people, fueled by unrealistic expectations or malicious intent, began hating on his appearance. It was a perfect example of how an imagined persona can backfire. People who had hyped Corpse up as an ethereal being suddenly felt disillusioned and reacted by lashing out at the very idea of his normalcy. The bullying was harsh and deeply personal. Commenters picked apart features, hurled insults, and essentially shamed him for not looking like the impossible ideal they'd cooked up in their heads. On the other side, many fans and creators rushed to Corpse's defense. They expressed disgust at how the leak was an invasion of privacy and condemned the body-shaming remarks. The incident sparked a broader conversation about online entitlement and parasocial overreach. What right do fans have to someone's face? And why the vicious reaction? For Corpse, however, the damage was done. He never publicly confirmed or denied the leaked photo, but insiders noted that the episode deeply rattled him. As one article put it, the intense negative reaction likely solidified his decision to remain hidden. The reaction, probably scared him into further secrecy. Indeed, Corp's husband essentially doubled down on anonymity after 2021. He drastically reduced his online presence. After a streak of music releases and gaming collabs in early 2021, he went largely quiet, rarely streaming or uploading new content in the years following. Fans waited for a triumphant return that never quite came. It was as if the mystique that had propelled him had been weaponized against him. Once part of the mystery was pierced, the spell was broken for some, and it frightened the creator away from the spotlight. Dream and Corpse are the poster children of face reveal, fallout, but they're far from alone. The internet is littered with examples, some dramatic, some subtle, of how revealing the person behind the persona can provoke backlash or lost engagement. Let's look at a few more. Swagger Souls, a YouTube gamer known for years as the guy in the medieval helmet. Swagger Souls built his brand on wearing a knight's helmet in all videos and public appearances, never showing his face. His raspy humor and armored avatar made him a fan favorite in the gaming group Misfits. To Swagger's core fans, the running joke of trying to glimpse his face was part of the fun, a bit of culture around his anonymity. In 2019, however, a fan snapped a photo of Swagger Souls without his helmet at a private party and posted it online, effectively leaking his face without consent. The response from the community was telling. Many true fans were actually upset on his behalf. Comments lamented that the magic was ruined. His private life, his unique selling point, and all the hype around his face. Swagger himself reacted with frustration and humor on Twitter, quipping, "My face when somebody else's face reveals on my behalf," with a meme image. Importantly, this wasn't even a public dramatic reveal. It was essentially doxing. While Swagger Souls didn't experience an exodus of fans, his content remained the same, the incident highlighted a common sentiment. Some fans truly prefer the creator to stay faceless. The helmet was part of the entertainment. Removing it risked making things too real and ordinary. Today, Swagger Souls still dons the helmet and wig in videos. He's joked that he's probably better off never doing an official face reveal. If anything, the small leak reinforced that for certain performers, anonymity is the gimmick, and breaking it could do more harm than good. The phenomenon isn't limited to traditional vloggers or gamers. On TikTok and streaming platforms, VTubers, creators who present as animated characters via motion capture, often maintain strict anonymity. Their fan bases get attached to the virtual avatar, an anime girl, a fantasy creature. A revealing example occurred in 2024 with Apricot Fruit, a popular English VTuber from the agency VShojo. Fruit typically appears online as a cute lich girl anime character. She decided to post a couple of real-life selfies and even did a face reveal stream for her fans. The result, surprisingly, some fans were upset because they saw her real face. A portion of her audience complained that it broke their immersion in the VTuber fantasy. A few even said they could no longer enjoy her content knowing the human face, a reaction Fruit found ridiculous, but it happened. As an esports news site reported, some fans believed that the VTuber's face reveal affected their immersion in her content. Anonymity is a huge reason many VTubers are popular. In other words, a segment of VTuber fans actively prefer ignorance. They don't want to know the real person because they've constructed a comforting or appealing fiction around the avatar. Another VTuber who experienced this is Uruha Rushia, a Japanese VTuber who was outed for having a boyfriend and later had personal info leaked. Certain fans felt so betrayed that it caused a career-ending scandal, all because the reality of the person didn't match the idol fantasy. These cases underscore that for some digital personas, the character is what audiences are attached to. Revealing the face behind the character can feel almost like a form of breaking character, or breaking the fourth wall, and it can alienate viewers who wanted the magic kept alive. Many viewers build a perception of a VTuber based entirely on their avatar. Some fans prefer to remain ignorant to fuel their self-created image of the creator. If that self-created image is shattered, some fans turn away or complain, not necessarily out of malice, but because their escape or fantasy is disrupted. It's a fascinating twist on parasocial dynamics. The relationship is not just with the creator, but with the idea of them. Calvin Leafy Is Here was once YouTube's most notorious commentator, pulling 20+ million views a month while hiding behind nothing more than a hissed catchphrase and recycled Counter-Strike footage. Fans didn't know his face, so they imagined one. Edgy, confident, untouchable. That parasocial mirage let a 4 million subscriber empire thrive without challenge. The fantasy ruptured at PAX West 2016. A casual crowd photo surfaced on Twitter. Zoomed in, it revealed Leafy's jawline, noticeably recessed. Overnight, ridicule became communal sport. Reddit threads wrote sing-song chants about Leafy's lost chin, meme pages pasted his face onto cartoon characters, and TikTok edits set the still frame to circus music. People who once spammed leaf emojis in support now asked, "Where's the chin?" A textbook backlash when reality undercuts an idealized persona. Analytics plummeted in real time. Social Blade shows his monthly subscriber gains collapsing from 6-figure highs to net losses within 3 months. View counts dipped below 10 million per month for the first time since his rise. The power dynamic had inverted. A bully dethroned by a single, unflattering angle. Psychologists call this reversal moral cleansing. Audiences bond by shaming the shamer to restore group norms. The same viewers who once cheered his takedowns now felt righteous mocking his appearance, turning derision into virtue. Crucially, the reveal wasn't voluntary. Because Leafy lost control of framing, the internet defined the narrative for him. In seconds, the dominant persona became a punchline meme, and the alpha commentary voice suddenly sounded defensive. Unable to stem the ridicule, Leafy vanished. From late 2017 through mid-2020, he uploaded nothing, effectively a self-imposed exile. When he resurfaced during the drama-rich summer of 2020, his subscriber count, still around 4.9 million, showed no net growth after years offline. Proof the channel had stagnated since the chin meme. He pivoted to roasting other creators, but the platform had changed. YouTube's updated harassment policies now targeted exactly the content style that once made him famous. On the 21st of August 2020, the site permanently terminated Leafy for repeated harassment, ending the channel in one decisive strike. Industry analysts later drew a straight line from that PAX snapshot to the ultimate ban. The meme weakened his aura of dominance, emboldened critics, and spotlighted his own bullying tactics, making him an obvious target when YouTube sought high-profile enforcement cases. Leafy's attempts at resurrection on Twitch, then Kick, and later a return on X never reignited the old spark. The hashtag followed him like a scarlet letter, an in-joke older than many new viewers. Even supportive commenters could not resist referencing chin armor or advising him to stream in profile only. For a creator whose brand thrived on belittling others, losing aesthetic authority proved fatal. Leafy's empire didn't fall to copyright strikes or a rival's subscriber war. It collapsed the moment the fantasy dissolved into a single, unfiltered selfie. In the era of avatars, the wrong angle can end an empire, and sometimes the throne splits right at the chin. But to truly understand why these reactions happen, we need to explore the psychology at play. Why do audiences beg for a face reveal only to rebel when they get it? Why do some feel betrayed or disenchanted upon seeing an ordinary person behind extraordinary content? At the heart of each of these cases is a complex psychological phenomenon. Fans don't just watch creators, they befriend them in their minds. Through countless hours of videos, streams, and posts, viewers develop what psychologists call parasocial relationships with creators. These are one-sided relationships where a viewer feels a deep familiarity and affection for a public figure who doesn't know them personally. Importantly, these relationships can be very powerful. Fans often feel they truly understand the creator as if they're close friends. They gain comfort, inspiration, and companionship from this virtual connection. With faceless creators, that bond is often focused on the voice, the personality, and the content without any visual bias or preconceived notions. In a sense, the audience is free to imagine the person however they find most relatable or attractive. This is where imagination fills in the blanks, and sometimes fills them to the brim with fantasy. If a creator has an alluring voice, like Corpse Husband's deep tones, or a carefully curated avatar, like Dream's bubbly cartoon or a VTuber's anime model, fans will naturally construct an image in their head of the ideal person that fits that voice or character. It's human nature. We take the limited cues we have and extrapolate. In absence of real info, those extrapolations can become idealizations. As one Reddit user, Riley, noted about Corpse's fan base, his profile picture plays into that imagination with his edgy anime boy style. So, of course, many assumed he'd look like a dark, handsome anime protagonist in real life. When the truth doesn't match the mental image, it creates a psychological dissonance. Fans might feel a strange letdown, not necessarily because the creator is objectively unattractive, but because they were different from what was expected. Expectations once set are hard to undo, and on the internet, they often become unattainably high. Fans sometimes subconsciously feel entitled to the version of the creator that lives in their head. When the real person deviates from that, whether in looks, behavior, or life choices, fans can react as if betrayed by a friend. It's irrational. After all, the creator never promised to look like a supermodel or to remain an avatar forever, but feelings don't always follow logic. Dream stans indeed forced themselves to reconcile that Clay was just a guy, not the ethereal figure they'd perhaps romanticized. A viral tweet joked about Dream stans forcing themselves to think Dream is hot, despite initial surprise. We also saw how a minority of VTuber fans felt almost angry at Fruit for showing her face as if she had done something wrong by being a real person and not just a cartoon lich. This anger or disappointment is essentially grief for a lost illusion. The fans lost the version of the creator they had privately owned in their mind. Another factor is simple internet culture nastiness. The mob loves an opportunity to meme and dunk on someone, especially if that someone is hugely popular. When Dream revealed his face, it wasn't only fans reacting, it was the entire internet populace, including people who never watched him. Dream's face reveal became a trending topic beyond his fandom, attracting Twitter edgelords and random commentators who were just there to make a joke about his chin or compare him to a cartoon character. The cruelty was amplified by this pile-on effect. In parasocial terms, those weren't even real fans expressing hurt. They were outsiders using the moment to generate laughs and retweets at the creator's expense. Unfortunately, the creator sees it all lumped together. A tidal wave of negativity. The loudest voices online are often the mean ones, and they can drown out the supportive fans. In summary, the backlash to face reveals is fueled by a stew of parasocial attachment, fan imagination, internet trolling, and brand image concerns. It's a profoundly modern problem, born from the unique way we interact with personalities online. Viewers feel close to creators, yet that closeness is partly an illusion that each viewer constructs. When reality intrudes, it can be jarring or even distressing. And because it all plays out publicly, the nastiest reactions often rise to prominence, creating a narrative that a face reveal ruined the creator's appeal. Sometimes it truly does damage their metrics. Other times, it just changes how a community feels. Either way, it can alter the trajectory of a creator's career in a heartbeat. In the end, the relationship between an audience and a faceless creator is built on a delicate trust and a dash of mystery. When that mystery evaporates, the content must stand on its own, and the audience must reconcile the real with the imagined. Not everyone manages that transition gracefully, as we've seen. The fallout can be career-altering, engagement drops, hiatuses, or content shifts, and in some cases, a reversion to anonymity as a form of damage control. In the digital masquerade of online creation, unveiling the face beneath the mask can be the climax of the story or the start of a tragedy. It's a gamble few would have predicted, and one these creators will never forget. And while on the subject of talking about influencers doing things the wrong way, check out this video where we talk about Lily Tino and all the amazing things they have done. They're not good. And she's now in a legal lawsuit. Click here if you want to check that one out.